Welcome to Tech Driven. My name's Danny, and today on the channel, we're going to be doing a little bit of a troubleshooting video, but I have this new power supply I bought for my main rig that not only this is what I game on, what I edit these videos on, and store a lot of my data on for now. I am building out a more enterprise, small business, medium business, NAS solution here, but that's not ready yet. And unfortunately, I need a reliable PC, and the PC is not reliable currently. I'm having experienced some weird intermittent crashing that it's unexplainable, and I've gone to the extent of reinstalling the games that it was crashing on, reinstalling and DDUing the drivers, dug through Event Viewer, can't really find anything that super points me in a direction, but I do see some NVIDIA crashing, and I'm like, interesting. So I started digging into crashing related to that error code, which was 153, I think it was. And then with also putting my video card to that, and then I landed on a Gamers Nexus video that explains some interesting power spikes that these video cards, the 3090s and the 3080s, experienced. And then did some more digging down that rabbit hole and kind of came to the conclusion, possibly I need a power supply. I have a 750 watt Corsair AX750, which is a fantastic power supply that was released in 2010, 2011 era. And it's been great in this rig forever. I think what's happening is I'm just really hitting the limit of what that power supply now can handle. And I've just grown the PC organically over time that it's, well, 750 is just not enough. So let's try throwing a bigger power supply at it, reload testing the PC, and see if it fixes the issue. But we're really not going to know probably until the next Forza race night that I have on New Year's Day. Well, I got kicked out of the race because my PC crashed on lap 5 of 30 on Spa, which really sucks, especially now that I have 2 DNFs and only 1 second place finish. So let's hope this new guy fixes my issue so then I can finish strong in this year's race series. So before we rip apart my computer and install this brand new power supply that's still in its wrapper that I bought, let's quickly go through the troubleshooting steps I've gotten to get to this point of buying a $300 power supply. So as soon as the game crashed, unfortunately, it's like, hey, I'm out of the race. And here's the clip of the game crashing. And unfortunately, OBS hangs, so you don't even get to see any of the errors. What? So now you saw the game crashed. I was coming out of a corner and boom, dead, which really sucks. As I was doing pretty well for only 5 laps in out of 30, but there was still a whole race to go and many pit stops that have happened to see how the race unfolded. And I would really like to see how that race unfolded, as I was pretty confident going into it. And that is kind of what burned the fire to understand and figure out this issue. And pretty much since Wednesday, I have been fully on trying to figure out this issue. So, well, it's still burning in my head. I thought, let's make a video. Let's go into Event Viewer. We see when Windows Event Viewer, Forza crashed. Then we also see Forza crashed on the 17th of December because I was practicing the day before. At the same time, Forza crashed on the 18th of December. Like I said, OBS hung. OBS didn't fully crash, but it stopped streaming and recording at that point in time. And that's why the clip just ended and didn't go back to desktop. So that raised some thoughts. Okay, well, if 2 applications crashed at the exact same time and we had an NVIDIA encoder error on OBS, maybe if we go under System, now keep in mind, I have this filtered for critical errors and warnings as the source, like for the type of logs I'm looking for the level. I'm going to scroll back to the 18th and look at this. NVLDDMKM error event ID 153. What does that mean? Well, it explains it very clearly here. Apparently, my video card can't be found and it's not installed anymore. Interesting. Why would that be? And let's go back to the 17th and see if that's a repeat issue because the game crashed as well. Look at that. Display driver has stopped responding and has successfully recovered, and we're getting the same error. Huh. I did some Googling. And, well, I started coming across some things and found this Gamers Nexus video. And I remember many years ago when this was released and watching this thinking, that's interesting. It's kind of an odd issue, and totally forgot about it since. Thankfully for the amazing hard work that Gamers Nexus and and Steve's team does, and having all this information and super detailed information posted, you can see that these cards are pulling a ton of power. And while I only have a 750 watt power supply, and sure, it was on the box saying, yeah, 750 watts is fine for a 3090, but it's not. As we can see, these cards can pull up to 650 watts, which there's no room left for anything else to run when you take up the entire power budget and leave only 100 watts left. Sure, power supplies usually can output more than what they're rated, but they're really not meant to do that. And going to PC Part Picker, as I use this as a really quick high-level way of kind of understanding how much power everything pulls. I used a few other calculators as well to verify this information, but let's use PC Part Picker as a great example because you can actually visually see all the components that are in the rig in one screen. And we can see here the estimated wattage of the rig according to the manufacturer's wattage ratings of each component. And I tried to fill this out with as many components as I have with the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D, my Crosshair Hero 7 motherboards. This is an X470 motherboard. My G.Skill 32 gigs of RAM. And let's keep in mind too, this component was upgraded from the original build. This was upgraded from the original build. These were added. This was also added. These were here pretty much from day one. 3090 was added. Sound card was added because the onboard sound card died. And these fans were not originally there. I had different fans. I was actually using Scythe Gentle Typhoons. Give or take, fans are all going to use about the same power. So that's quite interesting to see that. And there's the whole rig, plus also included the mouse and keyboard because mouse and keyboard is going to pull power. In comparison, this is how I originally built this PC. Corsair AX750, Gold 80 Plus Gold certified, fully modular power supply from 2011. We had a Ryzen 7 3800X. This is a little out of date, this build, but it originally only had 16 gigs of RAM, my PC, and then quickly realized that's not enough memory anymore. I also had an NVIDIA GTX 1080 Ti Founders Edition that was overclocked pretty much as far as I can push it. And it worked really, really well. It was always on water, and now it is living in my TV PC. But check this out. Estimated power usage, 474 watts versus now 654 watts. So this is kind of a use case or a scenario that I've been slowly upgrading components and kind of forgot about one of the main components to the PC, which is your power supply. And I really think that this is the issue. From not only watching this video from Gamers Nexus, reading online about other people having issues, a lot of people recommending, and first-hand experience and second-hand experience reading online what people are saying. Hey, I upgraded from a 750 watt to a 1000 watt, fixed my issues, no longer crashing. I thought, you know what? That is a cheaper route to go than replacing the video card. It's now day 2 for me. I did a little bit more load testing after the last shot that you guys saw, and I'm going to explain that now. I just never got a chance to finish the video yesterday. But essentially, I did a bunch of load testing using a plug-in power meter. So this is a very simple device. You plug it into your wall, you plug whatever appliance, computer, anything you want that uses a regular 3-prong plug it in, and it tells you live data. It doesn't do any logging, nothing special, nothing fancy. It's a very simple tool that kind of helped me verify a little bit of what theoretically I was trying to explain prior. With Firmark running, which is an excellent GPU stress test, and their CPU burner, I saw 643-ish watts, almost 653 watts, and that was the highest load period I could get out of this PC. There's really nothing else I could do to get more power draw out of it. I even cranked all the fans to 100%. I tried everything I could, even playing music to put a load on the sound card. I don't know. The sound card uses no power. It's probably like 5 to 10 watts. But I tried everything I could also to load up every little component on the PC and just rule everything out. Unfortunately, just couldn't get anywhere past 650 watts. We were still stuck in that 640 range. And then in gaming workloads like Cyberpunk 2077, with everything cranked to the point where my PC was crying for its life and had a slideshow and performance at 14 frames a second, well, couldn't get it past 590 during the benchmark. Again, replicating the exact race scenario with AI drivers instead of online racing, but while streaming to Twitch, couldn't see anything past 590 watts and no crash. And even 3D Mark, again, the same, didn't go past 590 watts. So it left me kind of scratching my head of, well, should I even replace the power supply? But I think I really should, because if you think about it, this is a power supply that's from 2011. It's been absolutely fantastic for a very long time, the Corsair AX750. But if you think about it, what I was saying in the last clip, this PC was built up over time, and it's had higher and higher end components over time. And well, that 750 watt power supply, sure, it works, but I just really don't think it's designed for a rig of this caliber now. And with those transient power spikes that Gamers Nexus was talking about, that really kind of all fits together. So the theory kind of all fits together that there's just no power budget, and if say there was a random power spike, there's no budget left on that power supply to handle it. And that is causing the instability. It may not be hard crashing my system, but it's going to the point where the video card's going, nope. And now, let's go ahead and replace it. CPU power. This is the reason why we have to drain this. It's tucked up right underneath that fan, in behind the rad where it exits. So intake, and then the back one is going return to the other rad. So we're back from the garage, and I've started, I had to get a set of wire cutters out of my garage and some extra zip ties. So what I'm going to be doing, and the way I wired this PC the last time I put it all together, was I actually zip tied together just power components and just data components. I've already taken out one of the SSDs I had in here. These are my two terabyte WD greens. We're going to try to add more SSDs in this cage in a very non-conventional way, so do not judge me, but I think I'm going to try screwing it in to some of these holes. And we're just going to slowly go through and try to disconnect everything so that I can take the power supply out from here, and then we'll disconnect everything from the front. Top radiator, she's coming out. We're draining this PC. So just to show you, there's a radiator here, and you can see another radiator here, and I have a drain here. This drain is hooked up to this hose, goes up all the way, and will drain the top half of the loop. And because you have a radiator that's vertically mounted with the fittings at the bottom, I needed a second drain to drain that second half of the radiator, because these are dual pass radiators. So water goes up, over, and then down. So I have to drain it from here. So I have a drain here, and this is my super complex three-way fitting here, and a three-way fitting there, and an elbow to an elbow, drain, and then elbow into the pump. That's how I set this all up. It's pretty crazy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the cap off, just a standard compression fitting with just some hose. Fit said hose over fitting, screw in. Probably could have done this before connecting the hose, but whatever. Hose goes in bucket, which is below the camera. Don't really want to drain that all over your floor, but hose is in the bucket. And the nice thing about these dark side drains versus like a standard ball drains I've had fail after really short use case. These dark side ones I've had now for 4 years, and they're absolutely awesome. And I do yearly drain and fills on the rig. And we release. Add air to the system. And there she goes. Well, here is our new Corsair RM1000 unit. So that's a pretty good looking power supply. I do like the new style mesh top on it. We got this cool mesh back, manual fan control, power switch. We don't have to worry about changing from, it's built in, from 220 to 115. That's some really old power supply days. But then we got all our connectors on the back. So really, really nice. Motherboard, everything's easily laid out. SATA, what's this one? 12 volt high power, CPU, PCI Express. So looks really, really good. Now, let's get this guy installed. Actually, footprint wise, before we go any further, they're the same size. I had to check out the cables. They got this cool braided look, but they're not actually like braided. They just got the look of it. And I think also cable combs were included. Don't eat this. For PSU, it's also quite interesting to see all this cardboard packaging. There's no real plastic involved. This is an unmarked one, so let's see. We also got zip ties and cable combs in the package. Awesome. with that, my Corsair AX750 is now retired. Now, I really like this power supply, and I've had this, and I bought this. Funny enough, actually, let's go down story time. I bought this power supply before I started working in IT. I graduated college, and I was working on basically looking for a job, full-time smashing YouTube videos out when this channel was really cranking, and my power supply died. I had an Antec 1000 watt at the time that was carryover from my old Crossfire rig. So I replaced it with the 750. At the time, all I had was a GTX 680, so, you know, and a i7 930, so the load wasn't crazy. So this was perfect for that rig, and that's what I originally bought this for, and it's lasted through so many different system builds, and that's just a testament to Corsair's quality and how good these AX power supplies are. I'll definitely be keeping it. It's definitely going to be used in another system down the road. Nothing crazy. It's going to be more of like a nostalgia build, but super, super cool, and it's going to live now on my hardware shelf just above my sim rig. Putting the whole computer back together was super easy. Had to take the rad out, which was the most complicated part. But once it was all back together, it took just over a liter of coolant, topped it up with a little bit of distilled water, and as the bubbles work their way out, we're going to have to add more distilled water. So I've just filled this back up with distilled water. I'm going to leave the PC open for a few days and let it work its way out, and then I'll top it up at the end of the week. Cabling the whole system was super easy. I really like this new power supply, the RM1000X. The cables it came with, fantastic. Super easy to bend and get them exactly where you want. You don't have to train them. They weren't stiff. I've had some power supplies had like really rigid cables, especially that were like 1000 watt plus power supplies, Antec 1200 from back in the day. Actually, even this, the power cables the original ones, were a little rigid, but they were good. But these ones, I really like. Also, it had a bigger fan than this one. It's got a 0 RPM mode, 10-year warranty, which is awesome. So hopefully this guy's kicking around for another 10 years. And overall, super happy. I did hit it with a Furmark and a Furmark load and a CPU burner load. Again, pulling around 650 watts is basically what it should be pulling. No crashing. So really, I'm only going to see if this fixed the stability issue over time, and just playing games and really hitting the system with a lot of load and different loads to see if we get crashing again. And I really hope it doesn't, because I'd love to finish out my race season strong and finish top 3 overall is my goal this year. Last year we finished 5th, so I think I can bump up a few points and really push hard to finish top 3. So overall, happy with everything. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We're back at doing tech videos. Again, like the frequency of me releasing videos, I'm not too sure yet, because it's just I work a full-time job and try to fit YouTube in, and trying to do 2 YouTube channels. So if you haven't checked out my other one, it's all about cars. I have a bunch of videos I'm going to be editing throughout my winter Christmas vacation and have them uploaded on time released. And I'll probably film some also for this channel and do the same. So check out the car channel, which is called Not So Stock Garage. Subscribe to that. Check out the videos. Mainly Volkswagen content for now, and more content to come on this channel. Maybe talking about GTX 1080 Ti in the next one. Stick around.